to talk about. If you do not have your math journal, it's probably on the back table. So if you don't have your math journal, it's probably on the back table. If you have a check minus in your math journal, that's fine. It's temporary. So I'm going to wait till everyone sits back down so I know I actually have your attention. So check the feedback I wrote in there. Everybody should have feedback. If you don't, it means I don't have a grade. I never got this back in. You gave me this morning, right? So you're going to need to turn your journal back into me with this in. So just stick it in your journal right where I wrote the feedback. Here's what's up. I want eyes and ears on me. If you got a check, I was kind of easy on this journal check. So you got to check on your journal. Good, you're fine, you're great. You got to check plus, it's all good. You kind of like don't think I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing though, because you still might need to step up your game a tiny bit. We need to make sure we're dating and numbering and all that stuff. I was a bit forgiving this time. You got to check minus. It probably says in there why. If it's something that you can't like go back in time and fix, like if I put you need to be labeling or you need to be dating or things like that, that's as we move forward. Go a couple days, show me that you're doing it. If it's that you were missing a homework or missing like something completely, that's a let's go back and take care of it sort of thing. So some of us, I think, we're trying to play the game and figure out what we could get away with doing or not doing. If you have homework assigned, it needs done. Now, I do not expect it to be done the next day. I get it, you guys are humans, you're not just students. So yesterday's homework, and I was talking to somebody about the set extensions, would not be due today. And it's especially not due today because this is a 2-day lesson. But yesterday's homework would at the earliest be due 2 school days after that. So Tuesday's homework, first time I would check it, would be on Thursday. I'm not trying to play gotcha, so I give you a buffer. So if I assign homework on Friday, which I try to avoid, but if I assign homework on Friday, when would I potentially check it? Tuesday. I'm not trying to play gotcha. If I assign homework over the weekend and you make this choice, you could really add it on to your Monday homework. Now, I would do it over the weekend if I was you because you got plenty of time. But if you hate like working on the weekend, I'm not going to check it till Tuesday. You can do it on Monday. Cool? Yeah.
If you have a check minus, when do we bring that to
AO extensions, whenever is like open. Or like next block is my planning block. So if you were in a class and you ended up with free time during second block, you could come and see me then because it's my plan period. Your roles will now be determined. And this is why I said please don't put your cards back. So if you put your card back, you're going to need to go get it. Your roles are going to be determined by your suit. So if you are hearts, you are the resource manager. If you are spades, you are the facilitator. If you are clubs, and I tried to draw them, but my pictures aren't great, you are the reporter. And if you are diamonds, you are the task manager. If your group has 3, I would advise merging the managers and distributing the other 2 roles, but that's up to you, what your 3 group over there does. I would merge the managers. So right now, I need you in your math journal to write down your new group. So date your journal. Today's 8:30. Date your journal. Today's 8:30. Our topic, we're going to start still on Newton's revenge. By the way, my E's, I'm really bad and I'm getting worse. My E's sometimes look like C's. Sorry, I try to correct those, but especially like in your feedback on writing quickly, my E's, because I learned cursive, we had to write everything in cursive when we were kids. If I were writing this in cursive, everything would be squiggled all together, and that's why my E's sometimes just compact on themselves. You need to right now write your new group. And then your role. So my new group write their names. You only need first names. And if you don't have your name tent up, please get it up. If you need a new card to make a new one, they're right up here beside the Sharpies. So if you need a new name tent, just come make a new one. So maybe these people are in my group. You never turned in the map. Did you yesterday? So make sure I get a check with something. If you don't want to leave it with me, bring it to me at like AO extension. So I'm gonna check it. You should have everyone's names written down and then your roll. Now guys, these files are going to get saved. So now that I'm using the smartboard a lot, and I'm telling you, I'm not trying to play gotcha, I'm just trying to make you aware. I know exactly what I expect you to have written in your journal, because I'm writing in my journal. And I was very on the fence whether I wanted to keep going with a physical journal or whether I wanted to do the smartboard. And there were enough focus issues with my document camera and enough like trying to see stuff. I'm just going smartboard now. So these files will get uploaded to Schoology. We'll talk about that in a bit. I'm trying to figure out how I could upload like a living file so it would update automatically. But these files will be available, but if it's on the board, you should probably have it in your math journal. So not Colin, Tony, Terry, but whoever's in your group, and then whatever your group role is. Your team role. Yeah. What? Right there, the big cards. You just make a new one. And we, yesterday, left off talking about this. Who can summarize? Gravity works.
Yes.
Let me hold this for a second. Thank you. Who can summarize what we learned based off of our data collection yesterday? Who can synthesize what we did? So here's our graph. You should still have the T-charts in your math journal. Zin, what did we really say at the end of class?
That kind of your reach is dependent on your height, and that no one if they had reached hands up would get their hands chopped off.
Well, none of us.
None of us.
Right? So we have to extend this a little bit. And who's the tallest person in the room?
You.
Right. So luckily we find out that I will not yet get my hands chopped off. However, am I the tallest person in the world?
No.
Am I the tallest person even that's going to ride that roller coaster?
No.
Well, there's plenty of people taller than me. I'm pretty standard. So if we wanted to predict, I use rulers to help me like see things, somebody as they get taller. So here's me at 6'2", not that, I mean, I'm like 190 something in centimeters. As people get taller, what if we have like a limiting factor for how tall people could be? What would limit, like based off what we know, what would limit how tall somebody can be? Do we know anything? Do we search for anything? Do we try to collect any more information? What do you think, Will?
Like what first off into my brain is that you said how tall are you?
Me, 6'2", not that tall.
6'2", and we could like count how many lines there are, and then divide that by 6, and that gives us like a rough estimate.
For like
how
feet?
Yeah, for like feet, like how many
Okay.
lines there are in like 6 feet, and then that will like let us know, and we like count up the line and see how tall it is until someone is like we get.
Okay. So here's a good question to follow that then. You said, like, figure out how far over. So I have two questions, really. How do I know how far over I should go? And then, are they going to have the same reach as me? What could we assume about their reach? Or predict, more so. Assume is kind of a dangerous word. What do you think, Piper?
It would be relative to how tall they are.
Okay, so be careful with that, because I don't know, like, I was at 190, 150. A lot of, like, here, this green dot that I can see is at 100, 130. So I mean, they're close, but they're not super duper close. They're off by like a slight factor. But do you think their reach would be greater than mine or less than mine? So Piper's saying if they're on this side of me, their reach will be less than mine. And if they're on this side of me, their reach will be more than mine. Pretty fair prediction. Can we agree? If you're taller than me, or any of you, if someone's taller, they can reach higher, assuming they have arms, right? So, people taller than me. So again, we're trying to, so talk amongst your group. If you wanted to figure out if this roller coaster is safe for all people, what else would you need to figure out? Talk for a couple minutes. Try to figure out what, and you can decide, like, I would Google this. I would find out that. I would, like, make a plan.
You would need to figure out how tall the seats are, that when you're sitting down, how much it's going to be levitated, and you need to figure out how high it is. Yeah. Did you know it's a magical roller? Yeah, and then when you have to figure out your feet, like you know how they have these, like, you have to be this tall? Maybe they'll have, if you're this tall with your reach, then you gotta keep your hands down the entire time, at the risk of your own hands. So,
What, no more hair?
yeah, go ahead, put your hands down. And then also, you know how reach is up and
Or the taller you are, the harder your reach. It doesn't seem like there's really something you wanted to fix it so it's like if you're this tall, you can't go on it because of your I know, but no, like
no, I get it. She's talking about
without
height.
the
No,
reach.
yeah, I get it.
All right, bring it back together. Somebody from my, let's say, Kings. I didn't have any Kings last time. Where's my Kings at? All right, so my reporter from my Kings group, what did you guys say you would do?
We said that we would, like, look up the tallest person and, like, see how big his reach is.
Look up who the tallest person is, see how tall he is, and, well, now reach is going to be tough. Do you think they have documented how tall you are from butt to top of your fingertips? Probably not. But I like your first step, right? We want to figure out who's the tallest person. Anyone know somebody who's really tall? Name reference. Somebody.
Piper.
No, well, I mean, like, not here, but he's tall. Shadow. What do you got, Alex?
My dad.
Okay, your dad. But so, like, in the world, people that were famous for being tall. Ian.
Tallest man that ever lived.
Okay, but people that were
It's a
famous.
name.
Oh.
Basketball player. Taller than Shaq. Do you know? What about Yao Ming? Anyone know the name Yao Ming?
No.
Isn't he the dude that
Okay, apparently I'm getting old. Yao Ming was a big name in basketball because he was pretty good and pretty tall. He measured 228.6 centimeters tall. Now, that is very tall. That's not the tallest man in the world, though. So, I love what Ava said. We got to figure out tallest man in the world. Or somebody said, or maybe it was Ian said tallest man in the world. Tallest man in the world, according to Guinness Book of World Records, is Robert Wadlow. Robert was last measured at 8 feet 11 inches. Guys, he's 9 feet tall. 9 feet. So, okay, so to picture 9 feet,
Oh, he's almost touching the ceiling with his head.
that tall.
Oh my god.
Guys, like, he'd hit everything. You'd constantly be ducking, and it would suck. But our question is not would you constantly have to be ducking. Our question is would he chop his fingers off?
Yes.
So, hold on. 2.72 meters. We're doing centimeters. 2.72 meters. How many centimeters is that? Naya, how long? How big? 272. This is why metric is better. 2.72 meters to convert into centimeters. So go ahead and get out your math journal. All we do is move the decimal. So in your math journal, let's go ahead and give him some credit. Let's write down Robert Wadlow. He's a cool guy. He had to duck all the time. We might as well put his name in our journal. Robert Wadlow was 2.72 meters or 272 centimeters. He's not still alive, so that is a shame. But tallest documented person. Now, honestly, if we track height data, it's pretty interesting. People are really tall and kind of got shorter and we're kind of getting taller again. And it's really weird. But if that person has existed, it would not be unfathomable that somebody that tall would exist again. So I got to add to my graph, actually. So 240, 260, 270 would be way out here. And we can barely fit him on our graph.
Yes.
So he, I'm going to need my ruler for this. He would be up.
Yeah.
Now hold on. Wait for me. He'd be right about here.
Him sitting down.
Now hold on. You're going to talk amongst your group. You're going to have time. How could we predict where his reach would be? He is dead. It's actually really interesting. In this article, oh come on, Marker.
Just put something on it. It doesn't have to be.
I know, thanks. In this article, it talks about he was buried in Oakwood Cemetery. The coffin was 10 feet 9 inches long. The coffin had to be 11 feet long. That's insane. I mean, he was a very big guy, and he holds the record still. And then, if you look down this article, maybe I'll post this on our Schoology. You've got the next 10 tallest people. We've got somebody who's 251 centimeters alive right now. I mean, that's right up here. We're pretty close. So, how could you mathematically make a pretty good prediction for where his reach will fall? Take 2 or 3 minutes. Have at it.
Well, okay, so we gotta figure it out. We already know when he's sitting down. How much is the shape? How much how high is the shape? And how high is the then you'd have to put your arms up
When I'm sitting down, so what he's saying is when I'm sitting down, we need to measure the chairs and my butt and then everything up and subtract the leg.
Yeah,
But your legs are bent right here. So he's measuring himself standing. That was you just subtract the knees.
So you just subtract the knees, like the knees down.
Yeah, but how much we have to measure his knees separately.
Is measure from the chair. Oh, yeah, that's right here, right? But to subtract that, it's only right here because they measure standing up, not sitting down.
So I need you real quick in your math journal to write predict his reach by, and whatever you're saying. Predict reach by. You don't have to write the whole how could we use our graph to predict Robert's reach. You can just write predict Robert's reach. How are you saying that you would predict it? Take a moment, jot it down.
His knees to his hip, then we subtract that from his entire the rest of his and then
It's like one ish, and where his height is reach. So it's like
This is genetic. Not well, at least.
It's not really well.
Nope, not good enough, at least. Maybe those are just like pads, bumpers. All right, let's see who's really, really smart in here. By the way, I hate that word. Smart is a terrible word. I'm just curious who has some vocab knowledge. This has nothing to do with intelligence. It's vocab knowledge. Give me some strategies you're thinking about using. Rachel, what do you think?
Well, if it's proportional, we have
Now, wait. What do you mean proportional?
like because I mean some people have longer legs but like really short arms. Like you're not like perfectly proportional. I don't feel like anyone really is. So everyone kind of has different proportions.
So that's a big word and really important. So let's in our math journals write down proportional. This is a great vocab word because what we're saying is that height, and what Rachel just said, height and reach are, and I'm going to add in a little word here, relatively, because it's close, they're relatively proportional. As one goes up, the other goes up. Height goes up, reach goes up. Height goes down, reach goes down. That tends to happen generally. But I see some people over here that they have the same height and different reaches, or the same reach and different heights. So that's why I have to use the word relatively. We're close. What's another word that we can use? And then I'll come to you guys. But there's another word that we can use when two things relate to each other. It starts with a C. But kind of like the happier your parents are, the more money they might give you to go to the movies. Or the more of the yard that I mow, the more I'll get paid. Or like, close. So what, you guys had some thoughts. Well, you had your hand up a minute ago.
Our group thought that what we would do is looking at that, we saw that like averagely, we saw that those people are like 30-ish centimeters for their reach less than their height. So we would just like take off like 30 centimeters from his height to like get like kind of like rough estimate. Yeah.
Okay, so if we see some trend that the reach is always something subtracted from the height, now here would be my question though. What if your height is, how many centimeters did you say?
Like we said it was like 20 to 30 centimeters.
Okay, so let's go with 30. What if your height is 30 centimeters? Your reach is 0? So I like the idea, but then it falls apart. Now babies aren't going to ride the roller coaster, but they would still have a reach. We're going to talk about data. So to be proportional, there's actually another rule that has to happen for things to be proportional. 0, 0. Anytime you think of proportional, and there's a bunch of O's in here, so I thought if there were 2 O's, that'd be helpful. But if somebody is 0 tall, what would their reach be? 0. Proportional relationships have to have that 0-0 relationship. Anybody else have an idea for how or what that word means when something relates to another thing? Anyone ever heard the word correlation?
That's what I was saying.
Well, then say it louder.
Well,
I'm getting older.
correlate
So,
means
yeah. So I want you to write down our reach, and we talked about this yesterday with independent and dependent. Reach correlates with height. And that's kind of another way to say that they're proportional. But I'm going to talk above you guys for a second. This is not something you're expected to learn right now. Like, I don't even think this year. There's something in mathematics we call the correlation coefficient. And that tells you how related things are. You'll get there eventually. The stronger your correlation coefficient is, the more directly related they are. The weaker it is, kind of a really loose relationship. We have our 0, 0 point here, right? You guys said if somebody's 0 tall, they'll be 0 reach. If I drew a line straight up through the middle, I'd be above some points, below other points, and through some of them. But I can kind of make, what's it called when I look for, like, not like a specific answer, but like, you know, a kind of where it could fall. It might be in this. Yeah, it starts with an R. It's a math word.
Oh, ratio.
No, close. You also go shoot there, but that's a totally different word. Range. We can use a predictive range. So what we can actually do is say, well, the lowest reaches that we're getting, let's use that as a bottom limit. So I'm going to draw a line through my 0, 0 point. And there, that's the lowest reach that we get for our height. So the lowest reach that Robert might have, is it safe?
No.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
But what about if Robert fell on the other end of our spectrum? And he had a high reach relative to his height. Does my green line show that? Does it help? Sorry, say it louder, Piper. I need to create another line to make that range and figure out, okay, what about the highest situations? So I went through a couple of us. If Robert's reach fell at the high end of the range, will he leave the ride with his hands?
No.
Not if he puts them up.
We'll leave with his head.
Well, no, he'll leave with it. Well, how tall was he? 270. Well, no, because remember that's total height. When he sits down, he's going to lose a lot of his total height. So he won't chop his head off, but if he reaches his hands up.
Maybe it just breaks his wrist.
So I need you to take a moment and in your math journal write a little reflection and start it with Robert might be safe. Might. And I'm going to totally capitalize that in mine. So I'm going to say Robert might be safe. And then why? We talked about if his reach is small relative to his height, he's safe. But if his reach falls on the other end of our range, he won't be. Okay, so you're ahead of me. So take right. W-R, right. Not R-I, right. I mean, yes, R-I, but W-R, right. Gravity. One thing that we love to do at Phoenix is help each other out. So since Naya's on crutches, try to help her out. If you know that you're going to the next class with her, offer to carry her stuff or whatever, that would be very nice of you. So please make sure you got a good couple sentences on why Robert might be safe. Now, we have some really strong writers in this class. Like as Mrs. Goldring's been reading your journals, as I've been reading your journals, you've got great writers. You don't want to share what you wrote about Robert might be safe? Is that a hand? Yeah, okay, nice. Then he's what? He's toast. Burnt toast, right?
With no hands.
Will, what'd you say?
Robert might be safe if his reach is small relative to his height. Then he'll be fine. However, if his reach is big relative to his height, then he is screwed.
Now, Will, you said something else that I made you hush up on. What else had you said when I was over there making lines? What if he's in the medium? What if he's not on the high end of the spectrum or the low end of the, but he's right in the middle? When we talk about, but he could be the average 9 foot tall person, right? Not the like super stretched out. I know. So, but you just use another math word. You just said average. So when we are working with graphs, the average that we work with is called the line of best fit. So I'm actually going to go to my next page so I can write at the top. But this is still 8:30, so I'm going to make that note there so I remember. So I need you to make another entry that says based on our, and underline or capitalize or something, line of best fit. Yes. Thank you. I love writing on vertical surfaces. Bad on horizontal. I've gotten so used to doing this. And like when I first started teaching, it was the other way around. Based on our line of best fit. Now our line of best fit I actually have on the graph. Is that what you were going to talk about?
No, I was going to have a question. I put my hand out sometime, but near the end of past few shows, pictures of his house.
Oh, I don't know. Probably not. I can try to find them for later. I'll post that article and then you can follow it as far as you want to go. Alright, so hold on. Zin wants to share what he wrote. Bring it in.
I wrote down that Robert might be safe if his reach is in the lower half or middle, like in between low and direct middle range of reach. But because this means for his proportions, he has like shorter arms than his other body, and he would be safe in the range where if he had his hands up on the coaster, he would not be having his hands like get hit. However, if he's on the upper half to the longest arms possible, then he would have his hands get hit.
The line of best fit is shown by the blue line here. Green was our low, our safe side. Red line shows our danger side. And blue is our line of best fit, which goes, I should approximately, now I'm slightly off here, but based off our data, I should approximately have half the points below and half the points above the line. I'm slightly a tiny bit high through our data pocket here, but I could shift my line a tiny bit down if I needed to. You want your line of best fit should fall in the middle of your points, half above, half below, and you can go through some of them, and then they don't count as above or below. They're through. Based off where this hits, our medium, our middle, our line of best fit, is Robert safe?
No.
It's come out 210. So in all chances, Robert's not safe. So based on our line of best fit, Robert should keep his hands down. Then I want you to really quickly, then I'll come to you, Ava, draw a picture that will help jog your memory for a line of best fit. So just draw like an XY axis, draw our line here, and put that, we had a few points above, a few points below, and then we use that to come up to the line and over to the Y-axis. That's how we use our line of best fit. Ava, what do you have for me?
So if that guy hit his hands like on the thing, then wouldn't he have to like have a really long torso or like really long arms?
Yes. So the upper part of this would be that your torso and arms are longer. The lower part of this would be that your legs are the longer part, because when you lose that, when you sit, it gets subtracted from the equation. So yes, we said absolutely true. That would mean you've got either longer torso or longer arms.
Well, but what about his leg? Like you saying that the guy that said he got hand chopped off, would he be like really
Maybe he's average height, but super long arms. I mean, and it's still just a rumor. So remember how this started? There's a rumor that somebody got hurt on Newton's revenge. Yeah, Ian?
There's this thing going around that this one dude was like the tallest person on earth, but he won't let people measure him.
Yeah.
Like on the tall fences, he'll like lean over it with his arms.
Yeah. And you'll see in like the Guinness, it says like when measured, like on this day in 1940, the tallest man ever is measured. Like that may not have actually been his tallest height, but that's the tallest recorded with a measurement that is Guinness approved. Right? You can do something, but it has to be like documented by Guinness to get that Guinness World Record. Take the last 5 minutes to either work on your homework or talk to your peers about your homework. You can check answers, you can work on tough problems, you can ask questions to each other. This last 5 minutes is yours. I did not. So I would like you guys to really just use the digital to get used to like accessing the digital text. So reminder, the homework, and I had this on the intro slide today, is on the digital textbook. So I would like you using the digital textbook to do this and write it in your after. The link to the textbook is on our Schoology page. If you need help, come see me. I will put it up on the board right now, though.
Yes,
and it does go 30 to 40. Somebody came in here and they're like, oh, 40 is on the next problem set. You were using the wrong textbook. So it goes 30 all the way to 40. 40 is on this problem set. So I'll shrink these down a little bit and drag it onto this screen so you guys can work on it. Yeah, so stick that in there. I can probably change the version and stop the recording.